I have had a busy few days here, as you can see, making these beautiful little clusters, or ribbons, or medallions, or whatever you want to call them. I had so much fun doing this. Well, it all started with this shiny little safety pin. It's his fault. I bought this box of shiny safety pins, and I loved the size, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make some clusters that you could hang in a journal? But they're too shiny and new. So then I thought, well, I know that you can stain metal things with alcohol ink. So I took the shiny safety pins and I put them in here, a whole bunch of them, some other things as well that I wanted to color. And I took some espresso and different colored mushroom alcohol ink. I spritzed a little alcohol in there, put the lid on, and I just kind of shook them up, laid them out on wax paper, as you'll see. And they dried very quickly. And I had these amazing clothespins. And even before I started my clusters, I thought, oh, I'm going to be making some cool clusters, and I'm going to be using these clothespins. And then I came across this new vintage ephemera that I just obtained and got so inspired by this picture. I thought, I'm going to make an ephemera holder for these. And that's what I did. And that's where I got these lovely byproducts. And then I went back and made the clusters. So this is a very interesting video because it's got several segments to it, and I hope to somehow make this flow. But what we're going to do is do a couple different pieces of making the ephemera holder, making the clusters, and making these beautiful medallions, condensing it all into one little video. It probably could have been 3, but you know how I like to do that. And I think that you're going to enjoy this, and then we'll come back and we'll make one of these beauties together at the end, okay? Thanks for joining me. It's Kathy from Maryland. Let's get going. Okay, so I want to make a journal to keep these amazing clusters in. And I got this piece of mail. It's actually junk mail. And it's 11 by 14. It was this huge, beautiful envelope. And I'm like, oh, I'm not throwing that away. It's like really nice and sturdy. So what I thought I saw a couple of makers do this, and I thought it was a great idea to make a journal. And what they did was they had some of their clusters or whatever it was, components in there. It might have been tags or whatever. They had them glued to the pages and then could just pull them off, or little pockets. I'm not sure yet how the innards are going to go, but I do have a thought for the outside. So I just want to make a big, tall journal with, I think I'm just going to do one signature with some sort of pockets or some mechanism to hold. So first thing I'm going to do is just glue this shut. I was able to acquire some old ephemera recently that I'm pretty excited about. I'm going to show you, and I think you are going to like it too. Let's just get that flap glued down because there will not be any need for opening this. Oops, something crunchy's in there. Piece of glue, I think. Let's get that glued down. I decided to do just some paper on here instead of fabric. So I have kind of a fun thing planned, and I think you'll like. Wait till you see this. I got these beautiful Farm and Home magazines from 1924, and look at that image. That is amazing. I am going to shrink this down and put it on my Etsy store. I just think that is beautiful. What I did was I shrunk it, and I have a thought about using some really thin paper. It's scrapbook paper from Michael's, from a pad I got a while ago, and it's just one-sided. It's pretty thin. But I picked out some colors I liked and a couple colors for the inside, and then I shrunk this down And this is just lovely. So that's what I'm going to do. I was going to collage first, and I thought, you know what? No, I'm not going to collage. I'm going to simply, this is going to be the outside. Just to tell you how the rest of it's going to work, since you can see that's not big enough, I disassembled this cute paper bag that has polka dots on it. And this is going to be where the binding is. I'm just going to make like a wide binding that kind of comes around front and back. So that will allow me to have enough. Let's measure, because this is 14. Oh, I want to get my big ruler for that. It's so fun to use my new big ruler. Okay, well, we know this is 12 inches. I don't know why I'm so excited. So this is 12 inches. So yeah, the middle would have to be about 2 inches out of that beautiful paper bag, or I can even make it 3 and do 1.5 on each side. Let's see. Anyway, let's go ahead and cut this in half. All right, we might as well just go ahead and do the same thing to the inside. Yeah, I didn't want this to be, you know, a huge deal. I do want it to be special, and it's fun to know how to make just something that's kind of quick and easy, but still beautiful and practical. You can't get any better than that, right? I figure if we're going to be working in something and using something, it should just bless us. That's how I always look at stuff. The environment we work in. Let's see what we have here. So far, so good. Wow. Okay. So here's my thought. Let's make this the front. I was thinking, let's glue these like this. That's what I was thinking, and that'll be the binding. And then this little sweetie will go right here. And then I have one more thing I'm going to do, and that is, if you remember, I made some cool folios a while back, and I did like a seam binding with paper all the way around. That's what I'm going to do with this. It helps with strength. I'm going to use this pretty paper, and it's also just really nice. So that's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to just go right on here. And again, I am going to sew around this. Yeah, I thought this could be nice. I saw someone, and at first when I saw them using that, I was like, oh my goodness. But then when you think about something like clusters, you go to look for, you've made these beautiful clusters, right? I'm not huge on mass making, but I'll tell you what, I've done some projects recently where I needed some ephemera for my journal and wished that I had had a backup. So if you kind of do some beautiful, not generic, but just vintage, you know that we all know the colors that we like using, right? Oh, wow, that really came out a little bit faster than I wanted it to. So I'm going to go ahead and blend that in with my finger a little bit, which is one of our best tools. Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, you know what, that's really smart, because you can flip through the pages and find the ephemera so quickly. And then the cool thing about it is you can add more. You can add more to it. Isn't that great? Now, the one thing I'm going to do after I clean off my finger is I'm going to ink around the edges of that. So yeah, I like the idea. I don't think I'll be sad that I did this. You know what I think I might do, guys, because I am just getting way too much glue on here. I think we're going to switch, and we are going to just put a little bit in here and brush it on. Oh, that's cute. I had a little piece of a eyelid in there. All right, let's do it this way instead. Yeah, that's better. I can tell already. This will definitely be the fastest cover I've ever done. I'll tell you what, I never get tired of working with paper. I don't know what it is. I love the texture of it. It's just very natural and organic. I don't know. I just love it. Oh, good, 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 because when I go to sew this, pretty good. I gotta line that top up a little bit. The bottom's perfect. But when I go to sew this from the other side, I want my stitching to be nice. Let's get the glue off of here. Oh, this is gonna be nice. All right, I'm gonna let this dry. So I'd like to get this sewn around first. Okay, so while this is drying, I'm thinking about the binding I want to make. And even though I love this, I'm wondering if I could do better with a more contrasting paper. And I think I could. I'm just looking to see. I actually had thought about using some of this, but it's just frail. But I do want to show you one advertisement. Now that I'm here, you guys are gonna love this. Let's see if I can find it. Oh my gosh, I was reading the funnest stuff today. This to me though is just pretty funny. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, are you ready for this? This is mostly for ladies, but if there's any men out there, you'll appreciate it too. Costs nothing to try it. The natural body brace cures female weaknesses, makes walking and work easy. Endorsed by every physician who has used it. Adjustable to fit all figures. Simple in its construction and comfortable. Look at the back. 98% of its wearers were pleased. Thousands of them wrote like this. I have found your body brace to be all that you say for it. I feel like a new woman. After complaining for about 3 years with womb troubles, cramps at menstruation, constipation, kidney trouble, palpitation of heart, backache, pains in abdomen, etc., I have not had a pain since wearing the brace. I feel like a girl of 16. Miss Edward H. Carr. Look at that thing. Now, does that look comfortable to you? That is hilarious. And, you know, it cures everything, wearing that body brace. I don't know. It just is too much. All right, let me look and see if I can find a piece of paper that maybe is a little bit more contrasting than that. Oh, I figured I would show you the paper pad. It's called Vintage Ancient by Recollections. Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I'm not sure. But it's very thin, so here's one choice. And then this is a little Elizabeth Craft design, and it's very thick. And I'm just wondering if it might be, oh, this is pretty stiff, kind of cool. Let me just flip this over. I think I'll go with this, because I think we have enough thickness here where I don't need to use that really thick. So let's go ahead and make some strips. Last time I did this, I used 1 inch, and it was a 1/2 inch on each side, which is nice. Oh, that's gonna be nice. go this way. All right, I think I am actually ready to sew around this. All right, we did it. Oh yeah. I think we need some help from this. I think that I'd like to make like a 1/4 inch seam and put rivets in it just to help out. Let's find the middle first with a pencil. And then we'll go from there. Here and there. Yeah, that's right. So we'll just go like that. So if I'm going to make a 1/4 inch center, then I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch on each side. Yep, that's correct, and it should be about that far off. This is a good way to do it. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to the drawing board, make her a little bit smaller, and then I shall return. So I shrunk it down 65% and put it, I did use that Elizabeth Craft paper to put under there. I loved that little plum color. And you may ask, why do you have gloves on? Well, you'll find out in a minute. So this is all set to go. Oh my goodness, come on, look at that. I am going to glue that on there. And then I thought, well, look at the size of this thing. What kind of paper am I going to use inside here? And I remembered that I had taken apart some grocery bags and actually ironed them because I was going to use them for, I don't know, a cover for something or something. So I just went in with some white paint and I was just trying to get rid of the name, and it got me thinking, and I thought, you know what? Because these are the perfect size. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to trim those down, fold them in half, and they're like the right size and sturdiness for something like this project. But I thought, why not go in and kind of just paint them? At first I just started rolling a little bit, and then I remembered watching when Barbara and Louise did that live, and Barbara was doing that blocking with her jelly plate, which I adored. And I was going to stencil, but then I remembered Barbara and I thought, oh, that's nice, because when you have clusters in here with different designs on them, you don't want a whole lot of designs in the background like a stencil, but blocking would be perfect. And there's another reason too that I want to do this, because this paper on one side is a little shiny. This side is flatter. And I think if I add a little acrylic paint to this, it's more apt to hold on whatever I'm going to use to hold in my clusters. This is going to be a great little journal that you could use for anything, not just like an ephemera holder. Sorry about the noise. So I'm taking out my Big Daddy gel plate. We are going to just get some color onto those sheets, nothing crazy. Let's go ahead and shift this over here. I've just picked out some colors that I like, kind of like different shades of pink and some neutrals and a little hit of that kind of plum berry color. There, that's cute. What's wrong with that? Let's do this side too, why not? So this is what I came up with. I've trimmed them down. I did end up using a little bit of stencil and pattern making. I don't know, they were just too plain. I don't have a whole lot of footage while I was doing that, because what I didn't count on with filming is that you've got these big pieces of paper that you keep flopping over and turning, and it was just too much. So as you saw, I just did a little bit of filming of the jelly plating, but I'm happy. I like them. They're cheerful and they're nice, and I think they're kind of cool. So the next thing I'm trying to decide, I envisioned having little clear sleeves to put like clusters or whatever I'm using in. So the only thought I had, I think vellum is going to tear, and I want this to last. So what I thought to use was, I have a laminator. So I just laminated a sheet without anything in it. And I thought, well, what if I cut a piece of that and then sew on these sides? And then if I put like 3 of them, 2 or 3, depending on how deep I want my little things to be. And then I'll just sew up the middle. I'll get a strip. Here's all these wonderful cutoffs from my jelly plate. So I thought, what if I took a strip of this, put it up over the middle, make that neater, and then just sew right up to kind of separate the 2 halves instead of just having a black line up the middle. I don't know if that's necessary, but I just thought it might be nice. The only other thing I want to try is, as much as I want to see through that, it's very plasticky, and I don't know, I just like things organic and a little bit nicer. So I'm going to try this one other thing, and this is this Tim Holtz collage paper, Entomology. I thought, well, what if I put some of that in there? It's very thin. You know, you can see through it a little bit, maybe see the color of the little cluster behind it. But I'm going to try it, even if I use that on a few pages, not every page. Do like most of them clear, and make 3 of these, and then I'll be back and show you what we think. Okay? Okay. Well, it's too fussy for me. I don't like all those uneven lines, and I don't know. It just makes me a little crazy. I want to still use this page because I don't want to throw away this beautiful page. So one of these is going to have this on it, but it's just, I don't know, guys. You know, like I said before, when you're working on something, you want it to like make you happy. And this is like way too, I don't know. It just isn't. So I have another idea. And this will be much less fussy and much less lines with the sewing machine. So I thought, what if I take a piece of this? So it will be, you won't be able to see through it, but it's okay. It's only 2, each one will be 2 inches high, so you'll be able to see what's peeking out of the top. I thought about this great paper tape that I have, which is a little less than 2 inches. So I have this idea because I want to be able to, whatever I'm using, I want to be able to glue it to the paper first, which will make sewing so much neater and so much easier. That's my goal here. So what I would like to do at this point in time is take this and just put this across. Let's see if we can do this and somehow just kind of get that on there. This could be a disaster too, guys. Oh my gosh. Really, Kathy? Did I really think that was going to be easy? Oh no. Let's try that again. I'm not quite sure how to make that any better. You know how? Is not to try to get it right at the edge. That's how. Let's just go across. Not try to be so precise about getting that to the edge. There we go. Nice. A little extra strength never hurts, right? And let's see what that would look like along the bottom of a page. Oh, That's so much nicer and easier. And that should glue nice on there. And then I'll just be able to go straight across with a seam. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 indeed. Okay, let's do one. I'll do one with you guys, and then I will get this done off camera. So we want to go just enough to hold this down, right? Because I do want to stitch around it. The issue is that it's double-sided. So what bugs me is when you're not catching the stitch on the other side. If you catch my drift, and I think you do. There's messy stitching, and then there's unintentional messy stitching, and I just can't do it. I don't know why there's a difference, but I can cut the edges just enough to tack it down. And then I can just go all the way around the outside of the page. Oh, guys, I think this is going to work just fine. This is making me happy. This is getting a little easier. Okay, so we're going to leave ourselves a little bit of space to wrap up. It's 100 times easier than the first one. So I expect everyone to get a little bit easier. Okay. Oh, right at the end of the crafting tunnel. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you get these wacky ideas, and then you go to do it, and it's like, impractical, and it doesn't even look nice. So stop right now, because you know what I normally do? I keep going, because I'm determined that I had a good idea, and I have to make this work. Instead of stopping, editing yourself and saying, wait a minute, do you really want to put yourself, and then not even through all that frustration, and then not even like the final outcome? No. So I just came back in, sat at my desk, and I was like, okay, what other material do I have that might work a little bit better than what I was trying? And I looked up and saw the brown tape. I was like, okay, look at that. 2 pages done, just like that, guys. Oh my God. I am going to carry on putting these down my pages. I'm going to sew it, and then I shall return. Before I finished these, I wanted to show you, in case anybody's as crazy as I am and wants to try this. I figured out that if you leave the long ends on both sides before you go to glue them, you have to measure one side. You put the 2-inch down, measure up 3.5, and then 7, and then leave those strips long, because then when you flip it over, you can use that bottom strip to line this up, and then when you go to sew straight across the page, that's going to be on top of that. So that, doing a few of these, I finally figured it out. So I'm just getting these trimmed up, and then I think I'm going to round that top corner and then sew all the way around the page. And yeah, I'm going to use these little tidbits for clusters right there. Those are nice. So this has been a fun process. First, I told you I wasn't going to do any stenciling because I wanted to just do black. And then I told you I wanted to use transparent pockets so I could see what was in the clusters. So don't believe a word I say. Yeah, so this way I'll catch these sides with stitching. I don't need to do the bottom, and then just up and around. I shall return. Here we go, guys. Let's get these folded up. I can see they have a lot more bulk So I hope I have enough room, because it's not like I can trim those edges. You know what I mean? Let's take a peek and see. You know what? I think we're okay. This is super duper exciting for me. So I'll be able to see what's coming out of the top. The other thing I was thinking, if it's something taller, it's totally fine if it goes up to the top part of that. Okay, I think it's time to get the cover on here. So let's go ahead and get this on. This is exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. I was ready to put the pages in, and I'm like, I think this would be easier to do when it is empty and flat. So I basically just put glue on the back of that. I'm going to move this over and put a book over it actually. Okay, so I've got my pages done. What I decided to do is, while that cover is drying, I'm going to just use 5 pages instead of 4 pages instead of 5. It's too much. It's just too much because all of this added so much bulk. And then when I add the clusters or whatever I'm going to add in here, it'll get way too bulky. So I'll use that other page for something else. And maybe I'll make another ephemera holder and, you know, just kind of add to it. I think I'm going to like it, and let's see. So I decided to use this little stamp set by Elizabeth Craft Design. It's called Artist Trading Coins 2115. It has a matching die set because I thought that it would add some interest to the clusters I wanted to make. So I kind of chose the different elements that I wanted and used my stamping platform and some watercolor paper and some coffee archival ink and stamped them up, and then took some watercolor and just kind of stained them and then restamped them to give them back that nice sharp edge. So here I just cut out some different pieces, bases, and top layers of this set with different sizes and shapes and colors, scrapbook paper, also by Elizabeth Craft Design, and just was kind of playing around to see what was best to use with the different elements. This was really fun, this whole project. It's a nice product. So here are my medallions. I'm very happy with them. I ended up adding some embossed bugs that I had made prior, and did a little stamping with some black ink, and just very happy with these. And these in themselves are just beautiful to use in a journal. Here it is. The cover is glued on. What I've decided to do, guys, is I'm going to use some elastic, and I'm going to bind the pages in with elastic. And here's why. Because this could get thick rather quick with the clusters I'm going to put in it. And I'm just concerned. I mean, I can always make another one, but I would rather, if I needed to, just pull out a page and start a new one if things get too crazy. But I just think that this will be a good way to do this instead of binding it. So that's what we're going to do. I've measured and I have enough room. I'm going to, let me see. I think I'd like to use, yeah, I think a small one is okay. We'll stick with the small setting. And just to make sure I'm doing this correctly, I'm going to just put that, and that's 1/4 inch right there, right in that area where I want it. Okay. And one right here. There we go. Put a rivet in there. And I'm not even going to use one of those other round because this paper is so thick. I think it's safer to just give this a really good crimp and make sure that it's crimped. Perfect. Oh yeah, those are nice. All right. you need to decide where you want it to end, and I am okay with that ending down here. So I am going to go through here, go in through here, and then I think what I'll do is get my pages in there. We're going to get this nice and tight. The nice thing about this is you can always put another piece of elastic in it if it doesn't work or for whatever reason. I want to make that pretty taut. Put one more knot in there, and I'll probably go back and put a little dot of glue on that. See? It's just very nice and practical. It's going to hold those pages. It's nice and tight. I think that's going to work really well. Our little ephemera journal is finished, guys. So as you can see, I got my pieces from the offcuts from my jelly plating from making my ephemera journal. I just couldn't get rid of these beauties. And I thought, well, I can add different colors so they're not all pink. I am just in love. And then the medallion, and then after watching Tim Holt's Saturday afternoon with his embossing tutorial, I'm like, okay, I need to do some embossing on those incredible medallions, because I just used some crackle paste and did those, and did a little crackle paint as well. I like the crackle paste better. And then I thought, I was kind of playing around with these, because these were just going to be in and of themselves medallions to put on a journal, and these will. I'm not making these ribbon type things out of all of them. But I had all of these, and I was making clusters, and I threw one on top, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of like a ribbon that you get when you win a prize. So then I just kind of went from there and started adding more little pieces of scraps and like ribbon and just a few playful elements and a little dangle on there. And anyway, I just love these. Oh, and I'll show you one thing at the end. I hope I don't forget, because not everybody is going to want to pin that to their journal page. So what I thought, I'm just going to show you now. Oh, here it is. I knew I made one. So what I was thinking was, if you don't want to pin that onto a journal page, just take your pin, cut a little piece of paper like this, put a couple holes in it, and you can go in, back out, and pin it, and then you can glue that to your journal page. So you're not pinning it through the back of your journal page. You guys probably would have figured that out anyway, but I just thought that I would show you, because I was thinking about that. Like, not everybody wants to go through a journal page. That's not very practical, right? So let's make one of these beauties. What I wanted to show you was this paper over here that's kind of like a little Swiss cheesy. I had bought in this Elizabeth Craft Designs die set. It's one of the planner sets because it had this like cool Swiss cheese type die cut. And I thought, oh, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. I don't know if I'll use it on a planner, but maybe someday I will. But I just put some of this paper through, some different papers, and thought those would be really cool on clusters, just to give it a different layer. And then you can see the pink or the, red behind, and just thought it was cool. So I did that. Let's make one of these. Let's see. Well, I don't know what I want to use for the top yet till I see what the ribbon part looks like. We'll move that on over. So I just kept pulling out pieces and kind of playing with this beautiful, beautiful stuff. I do have some of these skinny ones over here, and I like the shape of that too. I think that I might use a little piece of that. Yeah. kind of neat. Wow, look at that. That is really nice. Oh, I don't know, guys. Those two colors together are kind of killer. I may have to do something with that. Let me just see if anything stands out here. Oh my gosh, I just love all those. I haven't used a ladybug yet. This is very cool. Let's use this guy. All right, so we're going to use him. That's going to be my tail. I am going to just kind of rip that down to a little point. Maybe rip a little bit of this white off. Okay. I was thinking I wanted to use that a little bit. And then I do want a piece of this Swiss cheese type stuff, and I have a couple different ones to choose from. And then I got my little streamers. Yeah, a lot of times I just throw stuff away. I just can't have a whole lot of extra stuff around because I don't have a huge craft room. But these pieces were speaking to me. I'm like, oh no. No, those aren't getting thrown out. So once I decide kind of like what I want, then I'll start gluing down some, I even might put another one there, like a little skinny. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I like that. I like this. Get rid of that straight line right off the bat. I might put a piece of lace on the side of that. So this has been such an interesting project. You know what it is, guys? I had time, and I realized this weekend that I was able to play. I had time, but I also allowed myself to play a little bit and not be like, oh, I've got to produce this or that. No, I just wanted to play a little bit, and that's what I did. And I started playing around. That's why this is kind of a choppy video, I think, because I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, so to speak, with what I made. It just is the funniest video ever. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I just have been like gluing these on, just even before I decide whether I want them inside, outside. I'm like, let's just get them together. Let's get our little bundle of little tags together. Maybe, let one stick out a little bit like that. And then I went back and decided, like, okay, so that kind of looks good. So then turned it over and simply went underneath and added a little bit of glue like that. So now we have our base. I want to put something here. This guy is going to go there. I know what I want. I want a piece of washi with that. Yup. All right. So I'm going to put this down right here. And then I want to put this lace right next to it right here. That's great. One thing I did determine is I like when this is a little bit smaller, it's narrower than the round. So I kind of went back and just trimmed off a little bit of this. It just looks nicer. Like that top, it's just a little bit, narrower than the... Oh my gosh, this is this beautiful flower I've been wanting to try. Okay, I am going to do it. I don't know why, but I just have been wanting to do this. It's the most beautiful little flower, and I think I can do it relatively quickly here. It goes like this, and it's so beautiful. What we could do is, because this takes a minute to dry, let's go ahead and get that glued on. get him on here. So first of all, I need to make the stems green. So I used a little bit of mowed lawn and crushed olive and just kind of smushed in the stem there, dried it and repeated it. And it was a really fresh green color. Then I decided for the, oh, and I embossed it with some clear embossing to strengthen it a little. And then I decided with those white blooms just to use some white Ranger Distress embossing powder and keep them white. Let's see what this looks like. Let's just go right below that. I just want to see what this one is gonna look like up there. I saw this little flower dye on Amazon and I just was like, it almost looks like a paper white. Could be wrong. Just need enough room to fit all of our little beautiful. So yes, this was basically my weekend, as you can see what I'm doing right now. And I so enjoyed it. Some beautiful clusters, a beautiful little ephemera journal. And I am happy that I did it. That's one of a kind. Did not expect to do that. Huh. Isn't that pretty? So now comes my little pin. I'm going to go over to my sewing machine. So what I'm doing is leaving the top part up, just putting this through. You could use anything. You could even just glue it. You don't have to sew it actually. And to be quite honest, my sewing machine is not liking this. I think I'm going to glue it because this brown tape, as you saw in the video, is super sticky. And I had to change the needle in my sewing machine. And my sewing machine wasn't very happy with me. It's the most amazing sewing machine. It never ever gives me any trouble. And in fact, what I'm going to do is take the plate off and make sure that it's clean underneath. And yeah, I don't want anything to be building up down there. So I gotta take care of that this week. So that's why I just decided to stick a couple clothespins just to let that get nice and dry. This is so springy and pretty. I love that. Let's see. What do we have? So we have a ladybug. We have some flowers. Look at this bead. Oh, it's like lime green. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. So we got that on there. Maybe I'll put my dragonfly on. And then I just kind of decide which side I want that to dangle on. And there it is. So yeah, they're colorful, they're fun, they're springy. Oh, I gotta put that back. And I just had so much fun making these guys. So that's how I put together those pretty little ribbon type clusters. Okay, here we go. Last thing to do is load this. So I added a pocket in the front and in the back for those longer clusters, or if I have some longer tags. So I can load them right in here like this. I think this is going to work just fine. Put all these pretty little things in here. Let's put some in the back. Let's take another look at the one we made together. Isn't that cute? With a little dangle and that beautiful little flower. I might just leave that out on the side. Okay. And then we've got these little medallions. These are all going here. Yeah, I think I can get quite a few things in here. I could put larger tags. And then I've got these guys, and it's okay if it extends above. So my whole goal was, if I need, oh, I wanted to see if that fit in sideways. Well, because of my dangle and everything, it doesn't. You know, what is wrong, though, with doing something like this? I just thought of that. Oh, I get to show you the clips that I alcohol ink, too. So I took some of those shiny clips and alcoholed those. But, yeah, there's nothing wrong with, you know, taking one of these and just going like that. If you have something that doesn't fit, putting it on the side like that. So now when I open and I want to see what I want, I can just go right in. Oh, that one would look nice, and grab it. I think this is practical. And I mean, I think I might need a little adjusting with a little paper clip here and there for some of the bigger tags. I like the pockets in the front and back. Those are really helpful. But I'm going to be able to get a lot of ephemera in here. And again, I decided to do the elastic. So if I want to take one out, or even, you know, someday bind it, I could. But I just like the concept of the whole thing. I have a simple little tie that I'll just, you know, put around here. A beautiful little farm girl. Every time I see that, that's going to make me happy. Give this a try or something similar. This is what I came up with for some clusters, and there'll be more projects coming out of this, I think. But it was a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging in to the end. I really appreciate you guys. Love you. Bye.